So, I was just being a clown. Some of you may have seen the one video that I've uploaded of the house tour, which was fun. I'm currently in my dressing room actually, which hasn't changed a bit, but I will update people soon when we've done the house, which we haven't. Anyway, so this is gonna be my video talking about how I got into radio, because I think this is probably one of the most asked questions I get on my gram. Yes, I'm clapping. Because, I mean, I guess it's a really good question. So that's a bit chilly. Bit chilly, Willie. Let's put me calves on, get cozy. Oh, I love that. Oh, lovely. And it goes in tracksuit bottoms, you know what I mean? A little bit of coordination for you during lockdown. Yeah, so I guess it's one of those questions that like make sense. Like, and I can't answer every single person that if I clap one more time. I can't answer every single person every time I get asked the question. So I just thought it made sense for me to just do a one-time video, and it exists on Beyonce's internet, and yeah, you can just come back to this and make notes and whatever. I'm gonna try and remember as much about my journey as I can possible. And I guess we'll just start from the beginning. Wow, this is dirty. Do you know what this is? It's not an ad. Anyway, so I'll start from the very beginning. So I actually was a dancer first. I trained at the Royal Academy of Dance, which is called RAD. It's very distinguished. It's retrograde, so if I mess up my words, I'm so sorry. Distinguished dancing body. I did ballet there, I did tap as well. I also did some jazz and contemporary, and I did a bit of street dance. I started dancing for the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea, and then I stopped everything when I was like 18 and went to university to study media studies at Brunel. And I just kind of wanted to let you know where my history began. Like I was always quite interested in the arts in general, and music was my thing, but I was just dancing to it more rather than playing it. Anyway, so I went to uni, and then I had my son in the middle of that, stopped doing all of that, got my degree when he was about 3, so I took some time out. And then I took a year out, actually, it wasn't even that long. And then after that, I kind of just went back to uni, back to retail. I did some retail work at Urban Outfitters in Oxford Street. Shouts out the gang that used to work there because it was shook. And I felt like I wasn't entirely in what I wanted to do, but I loved working there, like I really did. I met some amazing people there, and it was great and it was fun. I was in my early 20s, so it wasn't like a big deal for me to be working in retail, it was just normal. But I had this degree and I just wasn't entirely sure what I was going to do. I also did some work on magazines at Look and Now magazine when I was at uni, and I just wasn't sure. So anyway, I will never forget, someone walked into Urban Outfitters, and I think she was a PR woman. I don't know what she did, but she gassed me because she was like, I recognise you, aren't you in the industry? And I was like, no, but it's me. Like, I was just chatting shit basically, and we're just chatting. And she was like, you know, you should get into the industry, like I do PR for some music something. And I was like, yeah, not interested, whatever. That was kind of my first inception dose at the time. And then I remember meeting Mario. It was such a 360 experience when he was on my radio show. But anyway, I met Mario, and he said roughly the same thing, like, oh, you look like somebody that I know that's in the music industry. And yeah, we got chatting, and anyway, he probably doesn't even remember that, but anyway, so those little things are happening. Then I went for lunch one day. This will go somewhere, I promise you. I went for lunch in Marketplace by the back of Urban Outfitters, and I met a guy that was casting for an advert with Dawn Porter, and Dawn Porter was there, the presenter. And Dawn Porter walked up to me and she was like, I think you'd be great for this advert we're doing. We're doing Andrex washlets, which are basically like wet wipes for the toilet. And I was like, okay. And she was like, you know, bring your friends and we'll go to, I think it was Mayfair Hotel. I had this dress on, it was so funny, it's like colour block dress because we thought those were cute then. And I brought all my friends, there's like about 6 of us, and we went to the hotel, and it was wicked. They had like a violinist, and I had a little clip on there. We're talking about how sick Andrex washlets were. It was just random. But from that day, I was like, I feel like I want to get into TV presenting again. I want to kind of go back to my artistic way kind of thing. Anyway, so I had an incident at Urban Outfitters, and I didn't want to go back to work, and I thought, I'm just not going to go back. I was like, I feel like this is the push up the bum that I needed. Like, let me just not go back. And I went to read, you know, those employment agencies, and I went there and I looked, I was like, this isn't for me either. So I went home and I just searched up like jobs in the arts or something like that. Like I couldn't put my finger on it, but I just searched it anyway, and this website called Star Now appeared. I don't know if humanity is still using that now, but it was really good. This is 8 years ago now, because we're in 2021 now. So yeah, not fully 8 years, but coming up to 8 years. So I went on Star Now and I applied for some extras jobs, and now they were unpaid at the time, but just to kind of get myself back into the scene and you know, dip my toe. I got a job on Alexandra Burke's video shoot, some random song, I don't even remember what it was called, but I met Letitia Hector there, who is an actress who's on Venus versus Mars, sorry. And we got talking, and she was of a talent agency, and I remember when she asked me like, oh, have you heard of Venus versus Mars? I was like, no, I've not heard of it. Now it's on Big Sky. But anyway, so she gave me a card with this agency called Talent Talks, I think it was called, and we got some paid extra work on films, and we were doing like all of that kind of stuff whilst obviously simultaneously working. So that was how I started getting back into the arts, XYZ. Then I went back on Star Now, and I was looking at presenting jobs. I worked a lot with students at universities that needed presenters whilst they were doing their film, which was a really good experience. They were doing film as a degree, and I would come, or me and whoever other presenters they had, and we would get our auto cue training and stuff like that and get mic'd up, and it felt like a really job, that felt like a presenter's job. So I was doing that for about 3 to 4 months. Then I went on Star Now, like I said, I was just going through the jobs, and I saw something for Westside Radio, like an advert for Westside Radio, and I was like, I like music, why not? Do you know what I mean? I just thought, let me try it and just see. And at this time I was dead set on being a weather girl. I was on some, okay, and over here on the quarter left of the UK, it'll be gushing loads of winds and highs and temperatures of 3 to 4 Celsius. That's what I wanted to do. I don't even know why. I wanted the little clicky thing, because you know, when they change, I'll just get a little something just to, when they change the board, they have this little clicky thing. I was just obsessed. I don't know why it was. I really love Cyan Lloyd, and this is weird, just leave that alone. Anyway. So I wanted to be a weather girl, that was my thing. So when I applied for Westside, I just thought this would just be something else to add. Oh, it's my other phone. This would just be something else to add to the CV. I joined Westside pretty quickly, and I was shadowing someone called Chloe Fontaine. She's a DJ presenter. She was lovely. Sunny, who's still there, was the manager at Westside at the time. And yeah, I ended up getting a show pretty quickly, actually. Within a couple of weeks, I was doing a show. And at the time, I will never forget this, Ramel London was there, and she was the daytime presenter at Westside. And I remember her walking out, and she had no idea who I was. And I walked in and was like, oh my God, Ramel London is fucking royalty in this shit. Like, she had a show, I think they had a link up show. No, that was on Bang, sorry, getting all confused. Anyway, so I was at Westside. I did the 1 to 4 slot when Ramel left. Ramel left to go to Bang Radio, and I did her old slot. I also did an evening slot as well, and I was just kind of moving around the schedule a little bit, and I met some great people there, some people that went on to continue to present and some people that didn't. Rebecca Judd, for example, Andy, who's now on Kiss, a lovely girl that I know called Jasmine, who's now at Asian Network. So we were all just, you know, starting out. Do you know what I mean? We were starting out, and I was learning the ropes, and you know, it was great. I really loved being at Westside. I got some, and I had a great friend called Stevie there, and we started doing some presenting work on the side, and it was good. And nothing was incredibly well paid. It was all very low key and very understated, but that was just my way of getting into radio. I had no idea how far that was gonna go. I just thought it'd just be a little side hustle. Anyway, give it about a year of being on Westside, and I got an email from someone called Dawn, who worked at Bang Radio, and she was like, we've heard you and we think you're amazing. And at this point I was so gassed. I was like, oh my God, not only have Bang Radio contacted me, but they've been listening to my show. Like, why are you listening to me? I was so gassed. I will never forget that. So, and like I said, at the time, Ramel was there doing a link up TV show. I think she did with, I I want to say B Money. I'm sure it was B Money that was doing it. And then I think the breakfast presenter at the time might have been Marcus Bronzy, who went on to Capital Extra. Chucky was there, DJ Double was there. There was just a good plethora of like, you know, industry heads that were working at Bang, and it was just a big thing for me because I was so small fry and I was so new. So I remember when I got there, Chucky I shadowed Chucky. He was doing a mid-morning show, and yeah, obviously that's where we met, and that was 7 years ago. So like I said, I did 1 year at Westside, and then I'm now at Bang, and I did my first day there, and I will never forget it. Like, you know, like I've got a picture of it still on my gram, and it was just overwhelming, and you know, the music was sick, and I really enjoyed being there, and it just felt like, you know, Rampage had been there, and it felt like a home of greats. So and not that Westside isn't as well, because Westside has got a whole hall of fame when it comes to presenters, but Bang felt, for the culture at the time, it was such a prominent station at the time. So I was so gassed to be there. And I ended up spending 5 years at Bang. So I did a lot of work with the drive time presenter at the time, who was DJ Slick, a good friend of mine as well. And we interviewed like Blackstreet and Cut Close and all these like people. And then I started to get onto the interviews, and I did Bobby V there. I did, oh my gosh, how can I forget? I can't even begin to tell you how many interviews we did there, but I did a lot of people. Like, I spent 5 years there, so I grew as a presenter, and I started to DJ. So halfway through being at Bang and getting my voice and finding out who I am as a presenter and really learning how to broadcast properly, I decided to just start DJing. It just appeared to me one day. I was like, right, maybe I should try this. And I really didn't want to, because I knew, you know, the stigma of being a female DJ. But yeah, I just practiced. I had 2 CDs, and I stuck them both in the CDJs, and I would just juggle and try things. And yeah, it was a lot. But anyway, I've been DJing for 4 years now, so that would have been 3 years into Bang, if that makes sense. Met some amazing people, some friends of mine, you know, that Amanda Starr, producers that have gone on to other stations, XYZ. But after a while, you know, you get to the point where you're like, I want money, I want this to make sense. And I was lucky that I started doing mid-morning at Bang, and well, the Beat now, so sorry, we changed to the Beat London halfway through my time there, and we got new management. And you know, there was access to money now. I mean, not huge, but it was like, I'm getting paid to do radio, like, during that time though, I'm making connections with people. I start DJing, and my profile is now starting to really get bigger because of the people I'm DJing for. Like, I did a lot of work with Adidas at one time. Shouts out to Minnie for blessing me with that, and shouts out to Raid, who introduced me to her at some award ceremony. I think we were at the Rated Awards. But just, I started to connect with people, and they started putting me in places, and I was just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And you know, you find as well that you'll have friends that you used to go uni with, and all of a sudden they're at labels, and you know, the links are all there. And yeah, I had an incredible kickstart when it came to my DJ career. For radio, it worked hand in hand, because people would then be like, oh, you've got a radio show, I'll tune in. So I got to the point where I was tired. I was so tired. I was tired of doing mid-mornings and not making enough to stop me working part-time still, if that makes sense. So like, I was still having to do little jobs here and there, and DJ money is great, but we all know that 48 day, well, you might not know, but some of these amazing companies do take a long time to pay you. So I was getting quite frustrated, and I reached out to Jenny Francis, actually. God knows why she answered. It was so weird. I didn't know her at all. I just loved her like every other person who's ever listened to her, because I was about to leave. I was about to leave the Beat. This would have been my 6th year of radio, and I was like, I'm tired. No one's opening the doors for us. Like, there's no opportunities. I didn't know how many people I had to DJ for in order to get noticed as a broadcaster, and I just got tired, and I was like, I've had enough. So I was really lucky. I'll never forget, it was a random evening. I went to meet her at a hotel lobby, and I actually had a Topshop DJ booking that evening. So imagine, I've met her at 4, and I was meant to do my DJ booking at 7. Luckily, there was a bomb scare in central London, so didn't have to go to the DJ booking, and thank God for that, because I spent hours talking to Jenny Francis. So I DM'd her on Twitter, she met up with me, and it was so weird. We found out like we had the same car and stuff. Like, and obviously I was gassed. I was like, oh my God, I just love you so much. Like, everything she said, I was just like, oh my God, oh my God. But after a while, I got chilled and relaxed. I had a cup of tea and I chilled out, and it was the most life-changing discussion I've ever had, because that woman said to me, you are not leaving radio unless you have somewhere else to go, unless you don't want to do radio. And I was like, well, I'll be all right. She was like, no, you don't leave a slot unless you've got a slot. And I was like, right, this is a whole Jenny Francis telling me this. Like, I was like, okay. And even the fact that I was able to have access to her like that, I thought to myself, okay, well, God's telling me something. Like, you can't just be casually talking to a Jenny Francis here. Like, do you know what I mean? That certain things, I think, you know, if you're watching this thinking, all right, you're making notes on how to get into radio, certain things are just for you and certain things are just not. So like, you know, I'm clearly not supposed to be a weather girl, clearly. Still mad about that, but whatever. Like, you know, I didn't start off where I am now. So, you know, you do have to trust in whoever you call upstairs, or universal, God, or Allah, whatever it is. You do have to trust in that and your gut feeling, and when things are for you, please, and if they're not, just let it go. So anyway, I'm doing a little break dance over here. So Jenny's telling me where the ass you going. I'm now questioning myself, thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't go anywhere. And I started to make a plan. I was like, okay, cool. Where do you want to go? I had a good producer at the time called Candice. She's a good friend of mine still. And she was like, look, let's see if we can get you into Rinse, for example, and get some guest mixes going on and stuff like that, just to get some attention, which is so hard, by the way. Luckily as well, at Box Park, I was a resident DJ there. And another good friend, also my boss, David, he put me on the radar when it came to Rinse, because he knew someone there who was Eugene, also a good mate. And like I said, you start to build relationships with people based on you not being a shit, basically. I want to actually say that, like, being a dickhead is not going to get you nowhere in this industry. If you're up your ass, if you aren't willing to help people, if you aren't willing to get better and change and do what you've got to do to be the best version of you, ain't no one going to be singing your praises. Because a lot of the opportunities I've had have been because people have rated me talent-wise, but they've liked me, or they've seen something and thought, nah, she's good people's. And do you know what I mean? Like, have respect for people, because I see too many people in this industry that when you're up or you're doing something, they want to know you. The moment you're not, they don't want to be your friend, they move mad, whatever. Do not make friends with people based on where they work, because it changes like that. And I promise you, give me 6 years, I'll probably be bald in the middle of Guadalupe, probably chanting with some with some fucking sound bowls. Yeah, don't follow me. I don't know where I'm going. Do you know what I mean? Just I'm just saying, just as a word of advice, because actually that's probably a lot of the reason why I did quickly very well in a short space of time, bar the fact that you've got to have the talent too. But anyway, back to the story. So people were starting to talk and be like, oh yeah, you should put Nadia here, and And before I knew it, I got a guest mix on Rinse, which was great. They really liked me, and I started to do more work there. Didn't look great at the Beat London. I had to tell them, look, Rinse are interested in me, and they didn't like it, obviously, but I'm not in contract and it's still underground radio, so to speak. So anyway, doing a couple guest mixes and guest shows at Rinse. I'm also doing the same at the Beat London. And then I got a guest mix, thank you Robert Bruce, because people don't know that it's just your standard presenters that are asking other presenters and DJs to do guest mixes. Robert Bruce asked me to do a guest mix on Capital Extra. I was so excited. It was the first time I had my mix on national radio. Like, I was so excited. I'll never forget this. My family, we all parked up outside the house because we were having a barbecue at my uncle's, and everyone's cars were open, the doors were open, and we just blasted my mix loud. I will never forget that moment. It was so poignant. And that's another presenter that made that happen for me. So it's a bit of love to Rob. So yeah, so that happened, and then give it a couple of weeks later, I then go to represent a girl called Jae who invited me on there, and I think I did a guest mix for her. And you start to get a buzz about you. I was working with SBTV a little bit as well, so I did an interview with Jar Keys, and you start to, you know, like, this is a very fast-tracked version of my career. I guess you could go scroll back on my Insta. It's not that many posts. You could probably see it, but yeah, that's what had happened. So I was getting these guest mixes and I was gassed. I was like, you know, like finally you're maneuvering and you're getting a bit of attention. You're getting invited to events that great people are at, and you're doing work with artists and they're rating you because they know you from when they didn't have any radio play. So now they're at, you know, Mobos, and they're like, yeah, I know Bang and I know her from the beat, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, long story short, I get an email from Carlene at One Extra, and she's like, hi, I want you to do a guest mix. At this point, I was like, this is it, I'm dead. I'm actually dead. Like, I'm dead. There's a part of the story I missed out as well, but let me just finish this bit before. Actually, no, let me go back to the part of the story I missed out. So a year before I got the guest mix, 2 years before I got the guest mix, I was talking to Ace, and he was trying to, like, you know, help me get into One Extra, bloody, bloody, blah. I did a demo at One Extra, and I totally forgot this part. I'm so sorry. That does happen in radio. Sometimes you do demos and you hear shit all. So it go. I heard nothing. Just shouts out Curtis, who ended up being my first producer at One Extra when I got the Weekend Breakfast show. 360s and all that, because, you know, God likes to laugh. So anyway, I did a demo and nothing came of it, but I remember being so happy and so gassed to do it. But anyway, I did the demo, nothing came of it, fine. I did visit One Extra a couple of times. Like, I went to visit Trevor Nelson, and I went to visit Ace when he had Jenny Francis on, because I'd already had my meeting with Jenny, so she knew me, blah, 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 blah. So I'd been in One Extra a couple of times, but nothing else. So this was, so a year and a half later, 2 years later, I get an email from Carlene, and she's like, do you want to do a guest mix? I was like, gassed. I threw my ovaries into that fucking mix. I actually still play that mix. I haven't played it for about 6 months, we'll say. Maybe when I first started covering breakfast, I played it, but I never forget. I was like, bitch, I'm gonna fuck it up, I'm gonna do this and that, and I was scratching, I was doing all sorts. Anyway, the mix goes out, loved it, and then Mark, who was head of One Extra at the time, emails me on a random Sunday and is like, no, Carlene emails me on the Sunday and says, oh, by the way, Mark wants your details, like, can I give it to him? And I was like, who the fuck is Mark? What is going on? So anyway, I clock Mark is head of One Extra. I'm like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, like, what's going on? Then my son had, this is the day I got the this is the day it all happened, yeah, so just let me land. So then my son was doing some modelling at Crystal Palace, sorry, not QPR, at Crystal Palace with my brother, basically. It was technically my brother, but whatever. They're doing a photo shoot. The day before, I get an email from Rinse saying, we want you to be a Rinse resident. I am on 500 at this point. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm going to Rinse, and Rinse is a step up. And, you know, like I said, I've come from Westside, I've done Bang the Beat, and now I'm gonna be able to, like, climb to another station. This is amazing. So I said yes, obviously, carried on about my business. At this point in time, I've now posted on Instagram that I'm leaving the beat, and this is my last week, yeah, because I knew I was going to Rinse, obviously. I'm seeing people at, like, events and stuff, and they're like, oh, where you going? I'm like, oh, I can't say, whatever, because they wanted to do the announcement. Anyway, so then a couple days later, I'm with my son, he's modeling, and I get a phone call, and I'm like, who is this, kind of thing? And I was like, hello, answered it. It happened to be Mark again from One Extra, and I was like, hi. And he's like, look, we know you're leaving, where you going? And I was like, oh shit, okay, cool. So I tell him about Rinse. He's like, right, well, I wanted you to do some guest mixes on One Extra originally, but he's like, now I just want to offer you the residency. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually emotional now because I remember the conversation. I took a selfie, I was on the phone to my friend, and I told her, she was like, take a picture of what you look like. It's so crispy. I'm actually gonna put it in this video. I'm gonna put it, there you go. Crispy ass. So anyway, and that was it. And I was like, shit, I've got to call Rinse before they do the announcement. And there was just such a scatter. So at the same time, the beat thought I was going to Rinse because that's what I told them, because that's what I thought. And then I got One Extra underneath all of that. So, and also with One Extra, if you don't know, you're not allowed to say shit all. So, I don't know what accent that was, shit all. Anyway, you're not allowed to say nothing. So here I am, just waiting like this, waiting for the group chat to pop, because everyone thinks I'm going Rinse, or they're just not sure. And then boom, that was it. They did the announcement, and the funny thing was I was the face of the announcement. I'm thinking, I came in the other day to take this press pic. Bless me, I look so skinny in it. How was it just my face? Like, it would be like big zoo and and it was just me like in the studio, like, and I remember feeling like this attention was way too much. I was very, very overwhelmed. Anyway, that's how I got to 1Extra. I guess I will fast track this part because this is probably the part that people know most about. You know, I started off doing 1 hour a month. No, 2 hours a month. So that's one show a month. My first cover show was the December. So we announced in October. So I'd done 2 shows on 1Extra and they weren't even live yet. My first live show was actually covering Trevor Nelson over Christmas, and I will never forget that. That was just like, I remember saying to him, like, you trust me? He was like, I trust you, like, you can do this. And then from there, the growth happened. I was covering Ace's shows, I was covering Yasmin's shows regularly. And, you know, once you're doing that, they're preparing you, I guess, for something. Because, you know, I remember they did it with Snoochie, and they did it with Maya Jama before she went on to Radio 1. So there was a lot of that. And then, you know, I got Weekend Breakfast, which was a huge shock, like huge, because I genuinely didn't think that, you know, Mim was even trying to leave or go, do you know what I mean? I didn't know the ropes, basically. I didn't know anything. I just thought they would, you know, I had a Sunday slot as well. I was doing daytime Sunday. Sorry, my mum is calling me. I was doing daytime Sunday shows, so I just thought they were just going to give me the Sunday and maybe the Saturday. So anyway, long story short, I got Weekend Breakfast. 6 months later, someone decided it would be really funny for me to do breakfast on a Friday. So whilst there's a big fuck off pandemic, I'm just trotting along getting extra work, and yeah, you know the rest. You must know the rest. Like, I'm really messing up my hair because I'm so stressed about it, but I'm still very gobsmacked that I'm doing the breakfast show. Like, you know, I'm so happy for Dot. We're good friends, and she's gone on to another chapter in her life, which is incredible. But I genuinely was like, well, where are you going? Because I'm not like, me, what do you mean? I don't even wake up before 8 o'clock on the normal day. Like, what the fuck? So like I said, sometimes when God is just making his mark and doing what he's got to do, you just have to be obedient, and you just have to just ride the wave. Because fam, when I say to you, I did not know I was going to do the 1Extra breakfast show. As in, even when I was doing it, I was like, oh, this is nice, and we'll just wait for someone else to come and get it. And then here we are. So that was my 7.5 year in 27.27 seconds condensed story about how I got into radio. Tips I would give you, just so that, you know, we can condense it a little bit. I would say, if you are not on a radio station that is oh god, what's it actually called? Like I want to say pirate, but it's not pirate. I'm telling you, my brain is really on one. They're called, anyway, a station that isn't national. I don't know why I can't think of what it's called right now, but anyway, definitely get on a station, any station if you can. If you can't, podcast. I have good friends. She goes by the name of Audrey, Ghana's, also known as Ghana's Finest, and she was able to do a podcast and still get onto 1Extra, and is now at Spotify, same as the Free Shots of Tequila Boys, same as that, you know, with there's Tony Tone, who's now doing a piece, like a 6, I think she's doing 6 episodes, I think it's 6 episodes of podcasting on BBC Sound. So lots of radio stations and platforms have the paid platform for you if you want to be a podcaster. So do that. Dope Black Dads as well is on there. We've got 1Extra talks with Richie Brave. So yeah, I would say podcast. And if you are podcasting or can't podcast, if you can do them both, get on radio. Just any station, get on there. Please find your voice and own it. Like, nobody is you. Nobody. And if that means you're the person who's loud, you'll be a Snoochie Shy. If that means you're the person who is regional, you could be a Yasmin. If that means you're the person who's a bit cute and a bit funny and a bit cuddly, but you're in the industry and you know what you're talking about, you could be a Yinka. If you are the fun-loving, warm-sounding guy, but you've got a passion for music, you could be Robert Bruce. If you are, you know, a bit more mature, because I'm not a young person like that, do you know what I mean? I've hit 30, like, I ain't young like that no more. So like, if you're the more mature sounding broadcaster, you can't age on air. You could be an ace. You could be, there's so many different platforms now that you can get onto being a broadcaster. Just do it fucking well. please, like, listen to radio, have a listen to how people sound, take what you like, take what disregard what you don't like. I'm only talking about 2 stations I listen to. There's obviously God knows how many radio stations there are. There's loads, you know what I mean? You might be into Capital, you might be into Heart, you might be someone who likes Smooth FM, whatever it is, whatever your kind of radio, because there's speech radio, there's documentary radio, there's news radio, there's all sorts. I'm just in music because that's what I love. So please research radio as a medium, research whatever type of radio you want to get into, have a research on that. Research your favorites. Like, I remember before I got into radio, I researched Clara Amfo to see where she came from, and she was at Radio Jackie at one stage. She made the transition from Kiss to BBC, and now she's at Radio 1 and she's killing off the clock. Do you know what I mean? So do your research as well. Like, there's so many stories that, you know, Snoochie didn't even come from professional radio like that. Like, she did represent, then she went on to have a big fat fucking humongous breakfast show on Radar. You know, there's other stations like Not For The Radio, No Signal, sorry, that is a proper Freudian, but anyway, maybe Not For The Radio need to do a thing. But yeah, No Signal. Build your platforms, do what you got to do. If you're a mix DJ as well, use that to your advantage. Like, I get to mix on a breakfast show because I couldn't put that part of me down. I was like, nah, I need both. Integrate everything that makes you you, because no one can be you, and be patient. Like, this microwave generation will have you thinking that we all popped up from nowhere and just got to 1 extra. It's impossible. It doesn't work like that. You have to be a representation as a broadcaster of so many things, especially if you're black and you're female, or you're male and you're black, and you know how the game goes, innit? But if you want to get into radio, and if you're serious, and that doesn't, I'm just adding race because of you know, because that's what I'm about, innit? Like, I know what I'm talking about because I've come from that. But if you are deadly serious about being in radio, please respect it, do some research, don't worry about everyone else and what they're doing. Have your unique selling point. You know, Remy Bergs has just come through. She's the 1 Extra weekend breakfast presenter. She was underground doing her thing, bubbling. It all happened for you. Same as Henry and so many others. Like, I could talk for days, weeks, months about it. And there are people who are incredibly talented who aren't on radio anymore, like Chucky, and he's gone off to do something else. He's podcasting. He's now working with JD. He's doing things with Noisy, and you know, do you know what I mean? There are routes for everybody. So just because you start like me in ballet and wanting to be a weather girl, ends up as the breakfast show presenter at 1 Extra, just, you know, trust and believe in your source, and stay very good at what you do, and always be a student of your craft. Because if you get to the point where you think you're all that and a bag of chips, I haven't said that in ages, if you get to that point, you stop learning and you can plateau. Jay-Z and Beyonce are still out here. Yeah, there is nobody that you don't get to the top and stay there. You just keep getting better, keep doing well, keep cultivating and you know, fine tuning your craft and changing and doing things, and then you're gonna have a great career, and it's gonna be long lasting. And yeah, so I think that's it. It's 33 minutes of talking. Now, it's been a long time, but yeah, thank you so much. And I mean, leave a comment if you like. I'm probably not going to answer any questions. I'm so sorry. I'm just tired of it. I just want to do a video so you can see it all. But yeah, if you are pursuing a career in radio, good luck. And I wish you all the best. It is a fantastic fucking job to have. I will say that much. So yeah. Thank you for watching and taking the time out to watch, like, subscribe and share, especially with people that want to get into radio. And yeah, I'll be back soon. Bye.